At some point or another, everyone faces dramatic catastrophe in their own life, be it the loss of a loved one, a financial crisis, or a physical injury. It can be completely detrimental to the trajectory of someone's life. And that moment where we choose how we are going to move forward and handle this burden is the moment that will define our future. Because as human beings, we hold on to pain and trauma in ways that can completely tear us down or shape us into someone stronger. And so I've thought back onto the own major catastrophes of my life, some self inflicted, some not. And I think about what actually caused me to go through them. I think about ways that people frame and shape getting through grief or pain, be it physical or mental. And what I realize is that my own experiences are somewhat conflicting to how people talk about going through it. And so, first off, I want to mention that I think it's important to have some kind of aspect of preparing for some kind of catastrophes. That doesn't mean you should center your life around it. But I think that on all the fronts of physical, mental, and financial health, having some kind of well rounded stability will make sure that whenever something is thrown your way, you are dramatically more prepared than you could have been if you didn't prepare. And that just means being physically and mentally relatively healthy and have some kind of a financial security. If you have those three things covered, when catastrophe hits, you will have this margin of safety that is exponentially greater than anyone who hasn't prepared. But regardless, catastrophe is going to hit at some point or another. And if we're looking at the way the economy is looking, we're looking at the forecast, chances are coming up, we're all going to be in a bit of an economic crisis. And so maybe we'll have some testing grounds for this. If we look at catastrophe, there's many ways that people shape going through grief and many mental procedures people apply. But I think that the problem with trying to find some kind of mental framework for how to get through it is that people overanalyze and try to apply things or look at different variables in ways that actually limit them from making progress. And so, my best example for this is there's a common knowledge that people who are naturally intelligent aren't good test takers because they overanalyze and look at all of the variables. Well, if you think about that in your own life, you're naturally more intelligent on your own life than anyone else because you've lived it. So you know all of the variables that play into it. So of course you're going to overanalyze. You're going to start to focus on a variable that might not even be uh, practically applied to the somewhat equation that other people are giving you. And so I look at my own life and I look at the major catastrophes. I look when I was overweight. I look at when I was massively addicted. And I look at things like the catastrophe of the fire that I was in. All of these things, there are mental frameworks that maybe a therapist would apply or just a friend trying to give advice. And I think about the amount of times that I tried to lose weight or I tried to overcome addiction and I talked myself through it. I hyped myself up. I said, this is the way you have to do it. This is what you're going to do. And it's like you have to get this amount of motivation and inspiration in you before you start and you get yourself ready and you figure out the way you're going to do it. And a lot of times that leads to going back into the same cycle of not going anywhere. What actually was effective for me was actually eliminating as much mental structuring or even just thought as possible and just doing. It's just the simplification of the action because the action is the reward loop, right? It is the dopamine feeding of your brain that I can do something and I can achieve. And I think that whenever anyone is faced with some kind of difficult life catastrophe, the very basic action of some kind of physical activity is going to be the very best, simplest thing you can do that's going to tell your brain and your body, hey, we can do hard shit. We can get through hard shit we don't want to have to face. And that's the very basics of it. No, I think that you need to have some kind of proper feeding structure. You can't be indulging in substances or unhealthy food that's going to make it much more difficult for you to have a proper mindset. But I think that if you just do some push ups, if you just do some sit ups, if you walk or run a couple laps somewhere, that's going to tell your brain, hey, This shit sucks. We don't want to do it. We're going to do it anyways. And look, this is what we do. And that simplification of this is what we do. It's not, oh, I have to be a strong individual for my family as we're all going through this, and I have to shape myself into this person that handles things in every single way, and I have to understand the way that these addictive cycles are put into place so that I can actually tackle them and address them and I can get over my addiction. No, just this is what we do. This is what we do. That's it. Now I think about when I overcame my addiction and I lost weight. All of the times I talked myself through starting that journey, I didn't do it. But one day I just started the action without necessarily the goal of getting to that end goal of beating addiction and overcoming all the weight loss. I just started. I just started. I clobbered up this hill in my Timberland work shoes, composite toed, and I just started going. I just started going, and that's what led me to this place. And that way, when I was lit on fire, I had some kind of training. I knew I don't need to work myself through, I need to overcome this trauma in this mental gymnastics manipulation stage of how do I reshape myself to not go through trauma. No, I have trauma. I know I have severe nerve pain. I know I have out of body experiences still over seeing myself in that room going up in flames. I know that when I hear something igniting, I panic and I freeze and it brings me back to that room and I struggle for a while. But okay, what do I need to do? I need to continue to go through life and I need to build myself into the person that just does, that just executes, because the execution is the feedback loop. And if you don't have anything you can do, you can start with the very smallest thing. If I don't know what to do in any given moment, and I'm thinking about, okay, I have everything I need to progress in a life, but I'm not sure what to do with those things right now. Do I need to fold laundry? Do I need to do dishes? Do I need to take out the trash? Do I need to just do something? It's like, what can I do? I need to cut my nails. Do I need to shave my face? Like, what is it? The littlest of things can give us that feedback loop. And then I can do some push ups, I can do some sit ups, and that's going to get my heart rate up. It's going to have beneficial bodily healthy aspects. And mentally, it's going to tell me I can do this. Catastrophe is going to hit and it will cause severe pain, but you can be relatively prepared and you can know that when it comes, it's just the process of acting. And that acting might not immediately have those effects, those positive rewards. But at the end of the day, it will structure it so that you do feel them. It's just a little bit of consistency. It's getting through that tough time and it will be painful. It'll be difficult, but it will be much better than if you just sit there and you let it hit you instead of you hitting back. And if you understand that, then when these catastrophes come, you'll be able to tackle them and continue your upward trajectory towards your goals, and you won't be held back. And I believe that you will overcome them. Keep going, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. It's going to suck. You'll get through it though.